Hello everybody. Today we are going to start by understanding the arrangement of the grey matter and the white matter in the central nervous system. I would expect you all to have the diagram, the cut sections of the spinal cord and the brain which depict or which show the grey matter and the white matter. So as we all know that the physical appearance of the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord, is into two colors, that is grey and white. The white matter is nothing but a bundle of axons. These bundle of axons originate and terminate at the same position. These bundle of axons are known as the tracts. And this white matter, besides these tracts, also consists of few other structures like the association fibers, which are arranged anterior-posteriorly in the brain. Besides this, there are also the commissures, which are horizontally associated or horizontally arranged in the brain from the right to the left and from the left to the right. Now this white matter is exterior or external or outer in the spinal cord, whereas the grey matter is inside, and in the brain the white matter is inside and the grey matter is outside. The color is attributed to the structures, the myelinated axons in the white matter, the dense structures like the nucleus and the Nissel's granules, etc. in the cell bodies. Now, moving ahead, we all know that every sensation comes from somewhere. It hits the receptor. The receptor conveys the sensation in the form of an electrical signal which is called the impulse, and the impulse is the language of the central nervous system. Now, this impulse is transmitted via the sensory pathway to the brain, and this impulse is carried by the spinocerebellar or the ascending tracts. Now here one thing is very important which we all should realize, that both the spinocerebellar and the cerebrospinal tracts are actually cephalocaudal in axis. Means in a vertical axis connecting the brain and the spinal cord. So when it comes from the brain to the spinal cord, it becomes the descending tract or the motor tract, and when it goes from the spinal cord to the brain, it becomes the ascending tract or the sensory tract. Now we all know that sensations come to our bodies both from outside and from inside. And whenever there is a sensation, there is a transmission of impulse. The impulse reaches the brain. There is interpretation of the impulse. There is coordination, and then there is some signal which is issued, which is again a transmission of an impulse, comes down, and there is a response which is mostly elicited either on the muscle or on the gland. Here it is important to know that the external sensations, which can be pain, which can be touch, which can be temperature, mostly coming from the skin, the mucous membranes. These sensations are from the outside of the body, and they are traveling via the sensory or the ascending tracts, whereas sensations which come from the inner parts of our body, from our muscles, from our joints, and from our ligaments, etc., tendons mostly, these sensations are mostly related to the position, the sense of proprioception. Now all the conscious sensations ultimately reach the cerebral cortex, whereas the sensations which are not conscious will reach other locations but not the cerebral cortex. So if we look at a cut diagram, a section of the brain and the spinal cord, we can see that in the spinal cord the white matter is externally arranged. Inside is a grey H-shaped or butterfly-shaped structure, whereas in the brain, the grey matter is outside and there is white matter inside. The grey matter is definitely very bulky in the brain as compared to the spinal cord. If we look at a section, we would find that the spinal cord has got an anterior or the ventral part and a posterior or the dorsal part. Now this anterior or ventral part is basically motor in function,